I've really cannot commit to Labour at the minute. I just think they're all a bit lightweight. What my family taught me was to loathe and despise bigotry, because there's no room for it. There's no room for racism or any of that sort of religious bigotry. And I stood up for Rachel. I think I did a tweet and I signed a letter to The Guardian deploring it. But I'm afraid it's still going on, this anti-Semitism. It's awful. But I think that Starmer is cleaning up or clearing. To be honest with you, I could not believe that the Labour Party would have a deep-seated anti-Semitic strand in it. I mean, I would have thought that the Labour Party is the natural home of Jewish people.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I
think some parts of the Labour Party would order that. Certainly, Jewish Labour's been around for a long time, but there was clearly something going wrong there, and it was also, I think, Jeremy Corbyn's failure to accept that there was an issue and to deal with it. Do you think it's been dealt with thoroughly enough? Is Keir Starmer the man to take the party forward?
I think Keir Starmer, from what I can see, I've never met him, seems to me like a very straightforward, decent, smart man. All right, he's not a film star like the blonde bombshell. And unfortunately, it matters. And I'm old enough, you're far too young, but I'm old enough to remember the early 60s election between Nixon and Kennedy. And it was the first real television election in the States. Kennedy looked amazing, amazing. You know, he was tanned, even though it was black and white television, and he just looked great. And Nixon hadn't shaved, okay? And Kennedy won the TV debates hands down, but Nixon won the radio debates because they couldn't see him, okay? So here we have Boris, God help us all, floating around. Will he keep away from the hospitals? Every time you see a picture of Boris, he's in a hospital. They're busy in hospital. You should leave them alone to get on with what they're doing instead of looking for yet another photo opportunity. The man he's camera mad. And then you've got the rather more sober, I would argue, sober, probably intelligent, measured, a better judgment and all the rest of it.
Is he too sober though, Starmer?
Don't know. What we do, listen, we've had enough excitement with Boris, frankly. We had enough entertainment. We don't want an entertaining and amusing prime minister. We want somebody that we are proud to have as the leader, the head of our government. Overseas, we're ridiculed. We're ridiculed. Well, this great nation is led by somebody who's currently being investigated by the police. In the old days, if a prime minister was being investigated by the police and accused of lying to the House, he'd run home to mother because he'd be so ashamed that this is happening to him, to a prime minister. This one doesn't care. He couldn't hoot. He's skated free of the current scandal. But the only thing that I'm relying on is that he'll go and do it again. And it won't be long because he happens to have he's accident prone.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. He's the deadline for him filling out his questionnaire from the Met to account for his whereabouts during several of those parties associated with Downing Street has to be completed. We're in the process of being in the deadline for that. So that may mean something. I noticed, Nick, you tweeted a Turkish proverb a few weeks ago. When a clown moves into a palace, he doesn't become a king. The palace becomes a circus.
Spot on. Absolutely spot on. How demeaning it is to be the subject of a great nation that is in such turmoil. He couldn't make a phone call conference with Putin because he was apologizing or something or other in the house for drinking at parties. I mean, it's a disgrace. They must think, I mean, do you think he has any leverage abroad?
I don't know about that, but I wonder whether it's right or wrong, some of the defense has been that that Downing Street and maybe parts of Whitehall were in their own bubble. They were working very hard during the pandemic, and they were
all
living in
working
their
hard.
own bubble, and they just didn't stop to realise why drinks
Well, they
at
should have
work
done.
might
They
be
should.
wrong.
They're meant to be intelligent people, and they were making the rules. And even on one of the days, one of the ministers, I think it was Culture, actually went into the Downing Street briefing room and told people that not to mix and all the rest of it, while there were people actually carting in caseloads of booze from some supermarket in the Strand.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, I mean, we all like a joke, but actually we don't like to be slapped in the face with it.
Yeah, especially not when people were adhering to lockdown rules, and many people lost loved ones and were unable to see them. So does
Look
the
at
Labour
people going
Party
to funerals and they couldn't go
absolutely
to bury their parents, for God's sake.
Does the Labour Party have your support again now, Nick? And if they don't yet, what do they need to do for you?
I'm kind of homeless at the minute. I really am, sort of homeless and adrift. And I am a bit adrift, yeah.
Do you think there's lots of people out there like you?
I don't know. But I hope people have woken up in the Red Wall to realize what's going on. I'm sorry to be sort of a bit of a wet flannel, but I really cannot commit to Labour at the minute. I just think they're all a bit lightweight.
It's an interesting opinion. Yeah.
Who's the deputy leader? Remind me.
Who is the deputy leader? One with the hair, the woman.
Yeah, well, you cut it out. Actually,
Angela Rayner. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
It would have been an unkind comment.
Okay, all right.
But just to say it, really am a bit homeless, and I just, I've always voted Labour. I've never voted Tory. I can't vote for them in a minute, and I don't know why. Maybe it is because whilst I believe Starmer has got a bit of weight about him, some of the others are a bit light. Ashworth I like in health. Yeah, I don't know. I tell you the problem, I'm too old. And the thing about old people is you get to be too old to have a hero. Okay, I had lots of heroes when I was a young man and was very politically tuned in and enjoyed it and loved it. And you look back to Wilson's 64 cabinet, there were some big guys there and women too. And so it went on. I thought that Blair had substance. All right, Iraq was a bit of a mess. Yes, it was a mess, but he did great stuff in Northern Ireland, and he was a very effective politician. But I now look at the current cabinet, I think, oh no, mind you, they've got rid of some of the lighter weights. Yeah, absolutely.